Here, you're ready for your dose of reality. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dr. Quack podcast. I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem.
And I'm Dr. Quack, so welcome to our WrestleMania review.
Yeah, this was a Bizarro WrestleMania. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow on the Bizarro Raw, or today, on the Bizarro Raw. So we had to switch it up here a little bit, and I thought I'd start the show.
Yeah, just like Wee Man behind us here. It was definitely out there. But let's bring on our guests here, shall we?
Yes, first of all, we're going to bring him on here. He's my boss. He's your boss. He's everybody's boss. Give it up for the boss of all time, Bossolini. And he's your friend and my friend. We all love to have him here. He always gives us some great insight. And we'll give it up for his tribal chief, Brandon Seeger. And as you know, I'll put Randy Hogan on the screen in this way. He'll be back. Boss will be back in just a second. I'll put Randy Hogan on here. We got another guest joining us.
Yes, we got someone special here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. All right.
Welcome to the show.
Well, I don't know if I'm really Mr. Rogers, but that's why there's a question mark there.
That's okay. So while we wait for Lindsay to finish up his technical issues, going into WrestleMania, the last show of our little tournament here, Randy Hogan was 51-18. Ed Lindsay 44-30. I was 48.5-28. Dr. Quack 41-32, and Brandon Seeger 30.5-25. And
I just want to go out there and say, for coming in as late as I did, I think those are pretty good numbers. And had I been able to start from last year's WrestleMania, I could have been up there. You could have been up there.
So Adjective Mania, I think just about every word in the adjective gamut can be used. This show was great. This show was awful.
Stupendous.
This show was stupendous. This show was horrible. This show was confusing. I think it covers the entire gamut.
Oh, my God. All right.
Honestly, in my point of view, if you were not entertained at any point during this WrestleMania, you really honestly need to quit watching wrestling, because it had its highs, it had its lows, but it was entertaining one way or another.
That's true. As I've always said, if you see a bad promo or a bad wrestling match, at least it's teaching you what not to do.
This is very true. Well, let's get started here with our review.
All right. So night one, we had Brantley Gilbert, country star, opening up the show, singing America the Beautiful. as a fan of country music, my response to him was meh. He really was kind of flat. He didn't really project his voice out. He's known for being an outlaw a little bit and having kind of a louder voice. He really was subdued, and this one really kind of fell flat.
Yeah, it was no Aretha Franklin for sure.
It sounded like he didn't even want to be there.
Almost.
Like, here I got paid, now I'm gone. So what's the first match?
All right, so the first match we had, the SmackDown Tag Team title match. Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs taking on the champions, the Usos.
And Mr. Seeger, you get to start us off on this. What did you think of that match?
Man, I thought, look, I didn't think that Shinsuke and Rick Boogs were going to win. But I did know, well, not know, I figured that what was going to happen was they were going to make Rick look fucking amazing out there. And they were trying. And as soon as they started doing the really fucking big stuff, boom, his knee buckles. So if it's not a work, my heart goes out to Rick. And damn, man, because I'll admit, like I did to Rogers backstage a little bit ago, I wasn't really on board right away. It took a few times, and then all of a sudden, I want to hear him say Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, I don't know what it is. I just like hearing that. I don't know what. But anyways, of course I was going to be with the bloodline and whatnot because, you know, whether people want to admit it or not, it's here. And it ain't going nowhere.
All right, Mr. Rogers.
So I also have to share the same sentiments. If this is not a work, it sucks because they have been pushing him, and you have seen the work that Rick Boogs has been putting in. I would also have to agree. Like, even though I picked the Usos to lose this match, honestly, I don't see how, especially starting off the show, you were going to let them lose this match. And honestly, I think it is about time, though, that they lose the belts at some point. But we'll see. If that match would have gone longer, I probably would have said it would have been Shinsuke and Rick Boogs winning it.
All right. And before we go to the boss, Randy Hogan took the Usos. Ed took Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. I took Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. Dr. Quack took the Usos. And Brandon Seeger, of course, you know, he's down since day one-ish.
Day one-ish.
Boss.
Well, the Usos, we're supposed to lose that match, and everybody under the sun besides Brandon knows this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, OG Vinnie Mac, you know, put a little too much on his plate, you know, saying, hey, Rick, we need you to carry both Usos figuratively and literally. And, you know, his body went out under the pressure, so they had to change up the ending of the match. Because we know the down six, day one bitch. I meant my bad. The flood line. I meant dud line. I meant bloodline. Aren't really as strong as they are, but we'll get to that other person, that other member later on. But you know, I give it a decent match for you know, Rick going out and Shinsuke fighting the fight of his life by himself. You know, I'll take that one.
All righty. Well, all the sheets out there say this was a legit injury. What I saw of the video, you can see the knot muscle where the tore away from the bone, which is usually a sign of a torn muscle when you see that big knot where the muscle's bulged up. Because muscle tissue, when it's relaxed, will tighten up. So plus the E, usually when somebody's hurt for real, like when Big E got hurt, they don't throw their back on. I think this was legit. And also all the dirt sheet said that by qualification. So don't know what actually was supposed to happen. This is all speculation. The run sheets or the kayfabe sheets are very heavily protected by the E. I went 2 1/4. The match was okay for having to cover on the fly in the opening match. It was kind of a specter of what was getting ready to happen, all in all. But the match was at least passable.
Well, I got to go back 2 hours on this because I got to give my 2-finger salute, and that goes to the pre-show. Why do you have a pre-show that lasts 2 hours and 0 matches on both nights? Yes, I'm giving out 2-finger salutes there for both nights on both of them, but this match here was not that bad. This match was okay. I was hoping Shinsuke and Boogs would win, but of course, no, the Bloodline has to win this match because that's what all WWE has is an Awahi family. That's half their roster. So you have to put them over. They're going to hold the title until WrestleMania 46.
And I'm going to add my sentiments. I didn't mind the 2-hour pre-show until we had to listen to a combined 41 minutes of Peter Rosenturd.
Yes, good God. All right, next.
So the next match, Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre.
Go ahead, Mr. Rogers. You're loving this already.
Honestly, I'm sorry that to me this should have been the pre-show match. I understand what they're trying to do is push Drew and going for the future. This is probably one of the worst storylines that I've paid attention to, and what they did at the end of the match with I like to me, this was the bathroom break match of the night, and it was only in match 2. Like, how could you have this match last longer than that tag match? Even though, yes, we did have an injury, but there was some that I don't know. I don't like this match. I didn't like it one bit.
All right, boss.
Undefeated since the gimmick changed. Madcap Moss interferes in a point that made no sense at all. Drew, the chosen one, McIntyre, kicks out of the end of days, a finishing move that has not been kicked out since the inception of the move.
No,
and then a Claymore.
No, Samoa Joe kicked out of it in NXT.
And as you know, NXT does not exist in the WWE.
Which is totally sad.
I give it a 1 3/9.
1 1/3.
I bury it under the jail cell.
All right. I am a big Drew McIntyre fan, but I do agree this was normally the second match, especially on a pay-per-view, is a bathroom break match because the people either ran in really quick to get the popcorn because they were running late, and now they go after the first match and they go chill out. So this match was put in a bad location. I was expecting more interference to come from Madcap Moss to really set up the turn that's going to happen soon. It wouldn't surprise me if by Backlash they're not fighting each other. But this match was really kind of underwhelming. I'm not a Baron Corbin fan. The way I describe Baron Corbin, okay, you're there, yay, and then I go home and forgot about you. That is my opinion of Baron Corbin. But I did go 2.5 on this one.
To me, this was a forgettable match. I mean, when you look down the WrestleMania archives, nobody's really going to be talking about this match. It just didn't live up to its hype. I mean, they tried to build the story with it. I get it, but, Happy Corbin going from rags to riches was great, but nobody really cared about it. Just like this match, I'm going to go 2 stars, just being generous.
All right.
Mr. Steger?
I'm pretty sure that I passed on this when we were doing the pre-show. Just because I wasn't interested in it to begin with. However, I will make a point. When I watched SmackDown and through a little bit of through WrestleMania, definitely SmackDown, there were 3 points and the joke that Baron Corbin tells pretty much at the end of SmackDown was one of them. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but it was a little bit edgier for SmackDown Friday night. And then somebody put him up to that. And this is why I think somebody put him up to that, because when Drew comes out to the ring and gets Baron Corbin out of the ring, when the camera had panned to Corbin, the look in his eyes, the water and the tears that he looked like he had in his eyes, you could truly see remorse out of his eyes. Like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. That wasn't Baron Corbin. That was the real man going, somebody told me to say that. Please don't fuck me up, because you just don't say certain things. And man, so anyways, as far as the match at WrestleMania, I honestly, it should have probably been one of those. What did the Undertaker call it? A squash match? I mean, a high performance match, or whatever I don't know. That's what it should have been.
All righty. So moving on, boss, you get the Mysterios against Miz and Logan Paul, your hometown boys.
So I don't know what was worse. Dominic coming out dressed as Cody Rhodes' tattoo, or Logan Paul looking better doing the Three Amigos than the Mysterios do. Hell, he even hit the Frog Splash better than Dominic. All in all, I was happy that the hometown boys won. Dominic sucks. Everybody plays tribute to Eddie all the time.
What?
Yeah,
So
I was about to bring that up.
And then the Miz being the Miz has to turn on celebrity, which is gonna lead to him getting beat up by another celebrity down the line. That's just the Miz's whole MO now. It's just to get beat up by celebrities. Bad Bunny, now Logan Paul.
There it is. Yeah.
So that's my take. Go Cleveland.
All righty. So, to Mad Dog on there's a site called WrestleCrap.com that gives out what's called the Gooker Award based on the name, the Gobbledygooker, for the worst thing to happen in wrestling in that given year, voted by the fans. 2006 won for all the Eddie-sploitation, and it's still happening 16 years later. Can we let the man rest? If you can't do the moves properly, don't do them at all. Eddie Guerrero didn't invent the frog splash. Art Barr did, and Eddie Guerrero was paying tribute to Art Barr. So let's stop, please. Now, with that being said, Logan Paul looked great. Miz carried the story pretty well. Rey Mysterio's about time to hang it up. Dominic needs to go to AAA or to CMLL for a few years to actually learn how to lucha. But I went 3 1/4 because Logan Paul was really damn entertaining.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with both of you guys. That's why this match gets my quack attack. Because this match here, Logan Paul actually looked great, and The Miz obviously was working with him. The Miz deserves some sort of reward for this because he's taken care of Bad Bunny the year before. He took care of Logan Paul here. He made that match better than what it could have been. And, yeah, that gets my quack attack. That's actually going to get, from night one, that's going to get 3 stars from me. Brandon.
Man, if I didn't hate Logan Paul before, I really fucking hate him now because he stepped into my world.
Please, let's calm down the F-bombs.
Sorry, my bad. I really, really hate that guy. And now he stepped into my world and he looked really good. And again, I'm going to do I'm going to say what everybody else has said too. how are you going to let that man step in here for 5 seconds and tear down your whole family like you couldn't wrestle? Like you just didn't know what you were doing. Yes, people have done the homage or paid tribute to Eddie Guerrero. I think he even did the shake better than anybody that I've seen here lately. And I was upset and my mom was livid. Man, she was livid. And I'm just sitting here with a smile on my face going, he could possibly stick around here. Like that's what irritates me. But I thought altogether it was decent. I thought he looked really well. And again, I'll agree with Dr. Quack. Miz deserves some kind of some kind of award to, man, he's a good teacher. That's for sure. If he ever retires, keep him backstage and let him teach some kids. That's for sure.
Yeah. So before we go to Mr. Rogers, is it going to be the worst second-generation wrestler, David Flair or Dominic Mysterio? Your thoughts, leave it in the comments. Mr. Rogers.
So I'm gonna tag in on what Brandon was saying. I hate Logan Paul and the fact that he went into WrestleMania not having any matches before. And wait, did he? No, he only boxed, I believe.
Yes,
he went into WrestleMania and look like he's been doing this stuff for years. He probably had, like, out of everybody in that match, he was the best person in the match.
Cleveland.
Dominic does need to go send him to NXT and let him sit in NXT.
Mad Dog's happy, I see.
Mm-hmm. I believe that this was an underrated match. I hated the story going into it. This was the other match that I didn't pick right. I actually thought the Mysterios were going to win just based off how the story was going. I can honestly see them holding Miz versus Logan all the way to SummerSlam, just so you can have that build up even more. But I was shocked, disappointed the fact of continuing to pay homage to Eddie and making it look ugly. And I think Dominic does need to go back down to NXT before they even ever think about having him turn on Ray. Because the one thing that I need to say, Dominic needs to quit trying to fight like he is Ray's height. He tries to fight little. He needs to fight like he is. What is he about? I think he's 5'10". He needs to fight like he's 5'10", not 5'1". That's if I was going to give this a star, it's a 3.5.
And that's why I said he needs to go to like AAA or CMLL and learn how to work lucha.
They won't. WWE will never let him go out. That's why they just send him to NXT. Let him play in NXT. The other thing is, remember, Sean runs NXT. Let Sean get a hold of him. Let Sean teach him a little bit.
Fair.
Let him stay here, big guy.
All right, so I get the women's title match.
Who picked what?
Huh?
Who picked what in that match?
I got the Miz, I'm pretty sure.
Randy Hogan picked The Miz. You picked The Miz. I picked the Mysterios. He picked The Miz, and Brandon picked the Mysterios.
I picked the Miz.
I was watching the video.
All right, so I've got Becky and Bianca Belair. I'm going to give my honest assessment of this match. Everybody knows I am not a fan of Bianca Belair, and I'm a huge Becky Lynch fan. I did pick Bianca Belair. These two had no chemistry. It explains why their first match was 25, 26, 27 seconds. However long it was, I really don't care. This match was super spot heavy. It was really sloppy. The ending was decent, but the crowd was flat. The crowd really still is not jumping on this bandwagon. I said that that Vince might have his hand on the chicken switch, and come Monday or Friday, whatever the next time that belt's on, I don't even remember who's got what belt. Or she's got Monday, so it should be on Monday. It wouldn't be surprised me if Becky Lynch wins the belt back or within 2 weeks. I don't care. I like her talent. I wasn't looking at her butt. But this match was really 2 stars.
Yeah, I mean, this match here that they tried to hype up hard. You saw it from the Monday night before where she cut her hair and the fans were flat. The fans were flat on this match. I think they rushed everything. It looked very rushed to me. And, I'm glad that she won. I think it's a good thing that she's champion, but it's going to be a transitional championship. I say within 2 months, she'll be dropping it to somebody. It might even be Lacey Evans. I'm waiting to see when she comes back.
She's due back about SummerSlam.
So it might be there. Bailey and another one in there. Could be a lot
Bailey,
of
Bailey and Alexa Bliss.
Speaking of wing time, about June.
So there you go.
Bailey and Alexa Bliss should be back tonight.
There you
Alexa
go.
Bliss been back.
Well, okay, sorry. She should be re-debuting back for Raw because she hasn't really been on Raw.
True. Right. That's a good point. Brandon, your shot.
I just want to quickly bring attention to the Labyrinth meets Mad Max look that Becky had going on. And other than that, I really couldn't comment because I was so appalled by the non-existent cheeks that are behind Becky. Like, where did the baby take it away? The baby took it, I think, because I'm pretty sure she had one somewhere, and now it's gone. Somebody needs to call the cops for real.
It was asked in Seattle, wasn't it?
That's all. I'm happy, and I'll agree with you guys. I do too feel like it was rushed. It didn't seem organic. It was, maybe too soon. But then again, maybe everybody's fallen flat for this whole Becky thing, and they're just kind of over it and done. That's why we've heard the flatness of the crowd. So, anyways, that's all I got for that one.
All right, Mr. Rogers.
So I will say this: I don't think it's Becky or Bianca's fault that the fans were flat. What did WWE do to put them in that situation? There was no high point at all through the first 3 matches that gave you the sense that this match needed to be, the fans were going to warm into it. So I don't put anything onto them. I will say this: I think this is probably the second best match of the night, from my opinion. They had some great spots. I do agree. You could tell that they don't really have great chemistry. I think this was the fourth. Wow. No, it was the third longest match. No, second longest match of the night. So you see that WWE is trying. It's not going to be a transition champion. They're trying to. They're going to pull the Roman effect on with Bianca. They're going to force it down our throats.
Could possibly be.
I this is another 3.5 star.
Okay.
Like I said, it was the second best match in my opinion.
Okay. Boss.
Well, of course, I'm going to have to agree with everybody. Becky has no cheeks.
There's the hashtag.
LBS.
I don't know why the subject of Becky and well, I know why it came up, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But I don't know, maybe I did see some excitement from the crowd when she finally got her on that coming off the top rope with the KOD. The crowd got excited. But my high point in the entire night of this match was something that I've been waiting for a while. The intros. The intros were what got me. Becky had her intro where she came out, got drove out to the ring, and the chauffeur opened the door and she came out looking like I don't know what the hell that was. And then you had the band, a la Cena. And Bianca came out happy and joyful, knowing that she was about to be the champion again. And you seen Becky's whole attitude the entire match. I'm losing the title and I hate it. I should be champion forever. I should be the female Roman Reigns. And y'all are going to make me lose the match, so I'm going to play like I suck forever. So Becky gets my Two finger salute.
Yeah. And that was Texas Southern University, by the way. They're Texas Southern University band.
Yeah.
All right. So
Can I
you
just
get-
say this though before we move on real quick? In that entrance, my mom even pointed out, you got those kids out there that have practiced really hard and given their all out on that stage in front of a crowd that they have never been in front of like before, and you couldn't even wear their colors. Like you had total, like it was like Monday Night Raw colors. Now I get it because of the brand or whatever, but you could have wore the colors. That's all I'm saying, Bianca. That's all.
Well, and I'm going to be defensible on that one. Of a lot of times the workers don't know when something like that is going to happen. She may not have known the band was going to be there until she got there, and they wouldn't have had time to make gear. So I'm going to defend that. Not have an issue with that. All right, you get this one here. Seth Rollins taking on the to be determined, who was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, which, by the way, none of us guessed it correctly.
Yeah, none of us guessed it correctly.
I
Cody
did.
Rhodes, you did, but you weren't a part of this.
Well, you also guessed like 12 names.
Yeah, I seen it. But, everybody thought it was Shane or it was going to be Goldberg or somebody else. It came out to be Cody Rhodes. And, me personally, I'm kind of looking at it in a shocked state because of all the history between Cody Rhodes and Vince McMahon that he came back. But he did. And shockingly enough, it was actually a decent match. Like, I actually gave this a 3.25 star match. The match worked well. I was actually impressed with it. It's better to see him than Stardust, I'll say that. It was nice to have him back. But we'll see what happens on Monday night. He's supposed to be making an appearance there. Brandon.
I think the only reason, honestly, why I didn't pick Cody Rhodes is because deep down I kind of figured that it was going to be him. And again, I was hoping for like the standoff, a good standoff between two companies again. And I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but I do want to point out the fact that when Cody had him in position for the pedigree, that was almost as big as pop as when Stone Cold hit the fucking. Excuse me, man, my mouth tonight. I apologize. But it was almost as big as when Stone Cold hit the scene. Like that was huge. And then at the end, I don't think they showed it on the show. They might have. I probably missed that. But later on that night, I'm going through social media and he's given a little interview right after the match, and one of the statements that he said was that he was willing to play the game. Now, he wasn't directing that, I don't think, towards Triple H or anything like that, but consists of how he started the first show with AEW and the sledgehammer and the chair and everything. I think even though he just said that he was retired, it could possibly be in the future, later on down the road, Cody versus Triple H in a WrestleMania setting of some sort.
All right.
But as far as the match, I thought it was a good match. It was he did pay tribute to Stardust because Stardust was the last character of his that was at WrestleMania. And then to see him do the bionic elbow, of course, you got to pay homage to your dad. So I loved seeing the elbow.
Yeah, all right. Mr. Rogers.
So I will say this was match of the night by hands down, by far. One of the things was going into it as you heard the music. Number one, I am surprised. I know people have been telling me it's like Cody owns the song. Normally WWE does not like playing songs that don't belong to them, like especially that in that instance where the song has been known outside of WWE grounds. So it is weird to see actually that happen. Probably the best crowd reaction of the whole entire WrestleMania overall. If some things had like, I think I'm trying to remember who mentioned it during the show, but obviously you have Cody, the son of Dusty Rhodes. One of Dusty's star pupils was Seth Rollins. So the great circle that they just gave to everybody. When the lights actually went out, I actually honestly thought it was going to be the Fiend for some reason, because I was not expecting that to go out like that. But I thought Fiend, but at that moment. But overall, to me, 4.5-star match. It was like, it gave me everything I wanted. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be short, and it was the second longest match out of all of WrestleMania.
Okay. Boss.
Okay, so I mean, I was happy to see the American Nightmare. I wish he'd have brought Brandy with him. That'd have made it even better. I did love the fact that he did the cartwheel and shedded the Stardust. How they alluded to it, they said that he shedded that old Enigma, got rid of the whole Stardust angle, and he finally got to be Cody. He got to be Cody Rhodes. For the first time in his career, he actually got to be himself. It wasn't no crazy character. They allowed him to be who he was, so they allowed him to actually enjoy a match. And I love how they alluded to saying, yes, Self got his WrestleMania moment. His dream was realized, and then it became a nightmare. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it was match of the night, because my other favorite match wasn't supposed to be a match, so we'll talk about that one later. So I will give this a 4.
All right. All righty. I'm going to say some things here that are probably going to be unpopular. I don't care. Until this match, the Rhodes boys, Dustin and Cody, I never saw them as main event talent. Tell me the last time Goldust fought in a world title match. I'll stand by and wait for that. Same with Cody. So
wasn't it in AEW for both?
I don't care about AEW. I've never seen one single show of AEW.
Well, you asked for world title. I
okay. So, anyway,
world title.
I didn't think it was going to be Cody Rhodes. I thought Cody Rhodes was going to debut tonight. So that's kind of what I was expecting to make a new somebody to throw out into a title picture somewhere. And I've never been a big Cody Rhodes fan. I felt he was very limited. He was trying to do things everybody else told him to do. And this match proved me wrong. I gave this match 4 stars. And I was expecting very little when I saw Cody Rhodes walk out there. This match was more than I could have expected.
Yeah, overall, great debut return. I mean, as the American Nightmare, definitely came out there looking good.
All right, so Brandon, you get Ronda Rousey and SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair.
Before we move on to that, can I just also mention this? Sure. If everyone doesn't remember, his last WrestleMania was also in Dallas.
There you go.
So you had that as well. I will say this. I have this weird feeling that, and I'll actually talk about it probably again later at the very end, but I'll expect Cody actually to win the big title within the next, say, how many more hours we got?
About 2 hours.
Pushing them.
Okay.
So.
All right, Brandon, Ronda Rousey, Rick Les Flair, Charlotte.
I mean, other than the fact that I kind of did think that Ronda Rousey was going to win. They brought her back. They pushed her for a split second. I thought that Ronda was going to get the win. However, I'm not saying this, boss, because I know how you feel about her. I'm saying this because I think, like Mr. Rogers had just said a minute ago, they're going to shove it down our throats whether we like it or not. She's going to be that champion for the next 3 years. So
Charlotte?
I just don't. I didn't think that I thought for a split second that they would take it away from her. The match, I couldn't even tell you what happened really in the match because I wasn't concerned about it. I didn't really I don't really care. If it would have probably been somebody from NXT or something a little more invested in versus Ronda's here, let's throw her in, let's do this and throw it down the road. That was pretty much how I felt this whole thing came out as, is very rushed, like we talked about with Becky and Bianca. So to me, I wouldn't have cared either way, but Charlotte got the win because it's Charlotte, number one. I kind of think that they're going to let her break her dad's record before they let a man break it, just because of the new age and the time, the parts of the times that we're in. Which, cool. I'd get behind that. But anyways, she hardly loses at pay-per-views, so that was not going to happen.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rogers.
So I give this one also. I put this match under the jail cell. I was not 100% on this match whatsoever. I thought it was decent all the way up until the finish. Once you knew once the ref got taken out, you knew what was going to happen. Can anybody tell me how many times that Charlotte has lost at WrestleMania?
I think it's 0 or 1, maybe.
One time. And that was not even in a singles match. That was in the elimination match at WrestleMania 33. Yeah. So I do not see her again, Brandon even alluded to it. It's pushing it down our throat. I do honestly agree. It's going to get to the point where she will break the record from Ric Flair before another man does. I did not like this match. If I'm going to be fair, it was probably about a 3, but it was not. It's not a pretty 3. That's me just being generous.
All right, Boss is very happy. He got some merch, so he's showing it off here.
Go ahead, say it.
Buy my merch.
Buy my merch.
But anyway, with this, I'm gonna say it like this before I get into my I hate Charlotte's, I do know of one very defining loss that she had at WrestleMania. Matter of fact, Ronda Rousey was in that match too, because the man was born. But now, besides that, I knew, as out of the sound, I knew on Friday that Charlotte was going to win on Saturday. Because when you allow the Hall of Fame to be seen, and you had Charlotte and Andrade, once you decided to show the whole happy couple family thingy, you already knew that they were going to give Charlotte everything she wanted, including losing and winning all at the same time. Because we all know she tapped. The world knows she's tapped, so the storyline gets to continue because Ronda was robbed. Charlotte sucks. Charlotte is Roman, and I'm tired of them both.
All righty. Well, I'm going to do my Dallas Cowgirl cheerleader cheer because that's how much I cared about this match. I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give it up. Chuck Norris approves to Little Nate taking that spear like a trooper.
And his head hit the back of the rope.
He took that spear like a champ. This match was okay. It was very, very simple story. It was obviously done to hide the limitations of Ronda Rousey. Let's see what's next. Are they going to do the heel turn or the turn? Not the turn, but they're going to do the I was robbed thing. Are they going to do does Ronda Rousey say if you can't beat them, join them? Are they just going to end this and cut their losses? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with this match. I'm going like 2 1/4 on this.
That's what I went 2 1/4.
And it's just it could have been so much better. The smart money would have been to put it on Ronda, but they didn't want the smart money. They wanted to have the long-term money. because the big money was right there for Ronda to come out there and be able to represent this company as an international fighter. But no, they said, Charlotte Flair, we're going to stick with you, and that's the way it went. Moving along,
we got the
long show here, folks.
Yes, Mr. Rogers, you get the KO show / nostalgia match of Saturday night. Kevin Owens taking on Stone Cold. And before you move on, he hated this entire night. He was drunk, and all I had to do was drag him out after about the third match and make him go outside and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I did. Because this match, this show to me just was below par.
So for this match, it was, well, I expected it to get to a match. Once they started pretty much saying that they would beat the living heck out of each other, you knew it was going to be an actual match. It wasn't just going to be the KO show. I enjoyed it just because, growing up, the Attitude Era was everything. And obviously, the man himself, Stone Cold, pretty much the face of the Attitude Era, being able to undo a wrong, which was he ended his last WrestleMania was losing, and his last match overall was losing. So seeing it, being able to start his career in Dallas, end his career in Dallas now, and pretty much come out, did not look like he had any limitations. Like, yeah, obviously he's older than dirt, but he went out there and he had a better match than Dominic. Let's just put it that way. And Dominic's like, he's twice Dominic's age. Well, 3 times at this point.
All right.
3.5.
Boss. So, before we get to the match, I have to give an award to Byron Saxton for the worst stunner sell I have seen.
I would say hold that award until later on for the second night.
We gonna get to that later, but we're talking about night one. We're on night one.
Okay.
And Byron Saxton was horrible. But Austin and Austin Jr., it was good to see Austin kick out of a stunner. It's good to see Austin have his fairy tale ending. Shout out to Tommaso Ciampa.
He'll be tonight.
I could have cared less that it happened, but we knew it wasn't going to be a KO show. You really knew it wasn't going to be the KO show when you seen the ATV come out. We all knew what was about to happen when Stone Cold comes out on that damn ATV. He's really about to raise some hell. And that was the bottom line. So I enjoyed it. It was the feel-good moment of the night.
Yeah, I like the fact that Stone Cold actually took a few bumps. Took the suplex on the floor, gave a couple suplexes on the stage, which, yes, I know, giving a suplex isn't as much of a bump, but still, neck injuries, knee injuries. I think he's either, if he's not 50, he's right close to it. I think he's like 52. So he did decent out there. It was a nice feel-good moment, a nice nostalgia mania moment. I went 2.25. It was fun.
Yeah, it was entertaining to watch Kevin Owens come out there and taunt the crowd for about 20 minutes. And then Austin came out there and took a couple bumps, and they got into a nice match. And the pop was unreal. Yes, you're not going to get a bigger pop. Everybody says CM Punk had a biggest pop. Nobody's going to have a bigger pop than Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was just huge. I think it was bigger than the Undertaker's. That's not like that much.
It was so loud you couldn't hear Kevin Owens talking.
Right.
It's not that bad for a 57-year-old man.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive for what he did.
Okay.
I mean, he made the match work. He didn't have to take a lot of bumps, unlike today's wrestling where you got to take about 47 bumps in a match plus a 450 splash. So it was different. It was a good fight to see. I went and gave it 3.5 stars. Yes, most of this first show, I pretty much thought it sucked. But view of it, it came out and brought things out nicely.
All right. So
We're going to take a quick commercial break here before we go into night 2.
And we're back. Dr. Quack had to step out. He got business to deal with here. So go ahead, sir.
Can I give my review of the last match, please, sir?
Sure. Didn't know we missed
So-
you. Guys.
You guys are good. The only reason why I knew something was cute because I actually listened to everybody, and I'm gonna disagree. Like, I didn't like the match. I liked the nostalgia of everything because I was a kid when Stone Cold was around. Like, when the whole Attitude Era and him flipping off the boss and sticking it to the man and all that was really, really, really good, and I love that. I love that nostalgia of it. However, it just watching it reminded me, it was like the same thing when I watched Goldberg. It was the same thing when I watched any older wrestler come back. Yes, I enjoyed seeing the moves and seeing everything, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, it's gone. It's really, really gone, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. And hopefully he just kind of stays away and maybe keeps like, I love the podcast that he does. I love it. So I mean, there's other things for you to do. Just stay out of the ring, Stone Cold.
All righty. So, boss, you get to start us off with night 2 here. RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Okay. So I don't know how to say this without making it sound more into it than what I believe. But it's very interesting that the WWE lifts this wellness policy stance on marijuana, and you keep the tag titles on, bruh. I am a fan of RK Bro. It is the very definition of the odd couple, because you got Randy, who is isolated and secluded, and then you got Matt Riddle, who is overly hyper and laid back at the same time. I don't know how you can be that, but he pulls it off. They work well as a team, and unfortunately, I didn't get what I wanted because I wanted to see the Street Profits turn bad, which would have been better than let's have a Faces solo cup drink party at the end. But RK Bro won, so bro.
I was the only one that picked RK Bro here. Not because I'm a fan of the team. It's just I thought it made the most sense for them to win. I really didn't care much about this match. I liked Chad Gable's shoosh and thank you until this show. For some reason, someone has fallen in love with it and wants to hear it in our nightmares. They overplayed it, and now I actually don't care about it. So if that was the plan, good job. You accomplished your goal. This match was really spot heavy, but the crowd was white hot. 3 stars. Mr. Seeger.
I'm actually with the boss. I was waiting the entire match for the heel turn for the Profits, and then you have the sippy cup drink party in the end, and I was like, here it is. Watch this. You're gonna watch D'Angelo. You can watch them both. Just rip through both of these guys, and then nothing. So I was like, well, okay, maybe tomorrow. So there's always another day.
All right. Mr. Rogers.
So I'm gonna agree with both Boss and Brandon. I was kind of hoping for the heel turn. Um, I'm at that point where I feel like WWE just doesn't care about the Street Profits. When was the last time you actually saw them do something like win a championship? They're always like they do well, and then all of a sudden you throw them into the back of the line, and you have a tag team that came out of nowhere in Alpha Academy, who I don't like whatsoever. Chad Gable's an amazing wrestler, but I just don't. I don't like the tag team, and yet you're pretty much letting the Street Profits, because was it Montez Ford is probably one of the most amazing athletes on the roster, and yet you really don't give him that much time to shine. I was waiting for that heel turn. I'm not surprised that RK Bro won. I won't be surprised if they lose the titles tonight.
All right. Well, my personal opinion on the Street Profits is if it wasn't for Montez being married to Bianca Belair, we would not have the Street Profits on WWE. So, moving on to the next match, I get to start off with Omos and Bobby Lashley. I'm going to say this because of the serialization of the World Wrestling Entertainment that we get 7 hours to include NXT every week. The age of the big man in wrestling is over. You have these big guys, you can't have them on TV all the time. You kill the mystique. Andre the Giant would not be the first Hall of Famer if he was on television every single week. But there's nowhere else for Omos to go. There's no NWA where you could bounce him around from location to location. So I think the Omos experiment is over, and he will probably be gone within the next 4 months. 1 star.
Yeah, the match there, it was okay. Bobby, I think, took care of him pretty well. That was very positive on that. I love that spear from the back. I actually looked very devastating. I thought that was good. But like I said in the preview show, he wasn't throwing that hurt lock on him. That wasn't happening. I'll give this match 2 stars. It gets a pass. But, yeah, I'm with you on Omos. I don't think he's going to last more than 6 months.
Mr. Seeger.
I was really, really hoping to see some really good things out of Omos. Omos. He almost made it. But when he was up against Commander Disease, and yes, crowd, that's how I say it, Commander Disease. When he went up against Commander Disease, they made him look awesome. And then they put him in the match with Bobby at WrestleMania right after that. Again, I think it felt rushed to me, like it wasn't really, like it was blooming to be organic from that. But I don't think that match between him and Commander Aziz should have been, I don't think that should have happened the way it did either. There should have been a build-up to that for a pay-per-view. That could have been something after WrestleMania. Let's lead up to the next pay-per-view with these 2 guys or something different, or whatever. Honestly, I thought that was going to be on one of the pre-shows for sure. But again, like Quack said, you had 4 hours of show and not a single match. Not even like, let's horseplay at the table for a second. Nothing. So, other than a quick comment from please tell me that I was not the only one that heard about the littering ticket comment that the King made about the Rey Mysterio family. And then the very next night, they set him right next to Booker T. I mean, right next, shoulder to shoulder to Booker T. I'm not going to get into it, but I thought that was funny. I thought that was, that should have been a part of the pre-show. But anyways, I think he's got a good direction. He definitely needs some work, and there's definitely some polishing of the stone there. But I think he could be one of the guys that helps bring the monstrosities. Not, like you said, not all the time, not every single week. but bring the monstrosity back. You got the 6 and 7-year-olds looking up, going, "That's a big guy," So, anyways,
All right, Mr. Rogers.
I do agree. This should have been the pre-show. I'm going to say this about the pre-show because I didn't say anything about it. That you talk about having all these talent that's why you want to now you need a 2-night WrestleManias because now you can showcase more talent. Then why do you do a 2-hour freaking pre-show? What's the point? Because now you're beating us over the head with all these vignettes over and over again, and sometimes it hurts. But going into this match, it should have been the pre-show. Never been a huge fan of Omos. I feel like he is. They rushed him. They probably could have put him in. Again, NXT is supposed to be your developmental. Why aren't you using your developmental, especially on a rare gem as that? I believe, if I remember right, there were a bunch of botches in that match as well, which led to the spear from behind, because I believe that was actually a botch, but they made fun of it later in the night. This gets a -5. It was not. I did not enjoy this match whatsoever. I actually used this as my bathroom break. But I will say, I did see a comment earlier from Rambo Bryan, especially about Charlotte Flair and about Andrade. I actually do see him coming back within the next year, and yes, WWE will pay him a lot of money to bring the power, the new version of the Power Couple together under the same roof.
All right, boss.
What will never be the Power Couple. No way on earth. You will have a better power couple. You will have a better power couple with Montez Ford and Bianca Belair.
I'm not disagreeing.
But anywho's, this match should have never happened. If you did anything with this match, you shouldn't have had it been a match. You should have had Bobby show up. You don't even let people know that he's back. He show up with almost and interrupt the main event by destroying both of those two, and would have been a better storyline. But I don't write for soap operas. I know wrestling.
Where was MVP?
I'm gone right now. That's forbidden right now. But I do agree with Bushy Bro over there. I mean, Mr. Rogers. I wasn't a fan of the match. I wasn't a fan of having little muscle man be giant muscle man. So I gave it a 0.5.
Okay, there you go. You got this one here. You welcome back.
Thanks.
Sami Zayn taking on Johnny Knoxville.
And that, for me, gets the quack attack. And I'm going to tell you why it gets my quack attack. Because out of all matches, that was the most entertaining. It wasn't the best wrestling match, no. But it was very entertaining. Johnny Knoxville and Wee Man and Party Boy coming out there. That was awesome. And Sami Zayn playing the best heel he can play, getting aggravated and upset and pissed off like he was Gene Hackman and Hoosiers yelling at his players. It was beautiful. It was a great job. Well played. The mousetrap on the top for the pin. I give that 3.5 stars. That was probably one of my favorite moments on the whole card. Celebrities get an A+ from me. That's just how I'm feeling. Brandon.
So I don't like Sami Zayn. I've said that numerous times. I do like the match. I did like the match as a whole, except for the very end. I wasn't expecting a mechanical botch, a safety failure mechanism to, what should have happened is I think the ending should have been him getting thrown off the top rope onto the table of mousetraps instead of the big mousetrap, which at the very end of the match hit Johnny Knoxville before it even slammed down on Sami Zayn. And I'm thinking, well, if that was the case, Johnny Knoxville should have acted like it hit him, slammed him, and then pinned him on top of him, yada, yada, whatever. But it is what it is. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was great. Moment of the night, moment of WrestleMania was when Cody had put him in the position for the pedigree because of the pop had broke. However, when Wee Man picked up Sami Zayn, like, did I say that wrong? No. Wee Man picked up Sami Zayn and slammed him down. I was like, no, they did not. Just let that little man do that. And they did. So, I had fun watching it.
All right. Rogers, what's up in your neighborhood?
I will agree. It was probably I was the most entertained during that match. If I it gets like a 5.5 star. It's like it breaks anything because it didn't need to be like an Undertaker, Shawn Michaels 5-star classic. I needed to be entertained because during WrestleMania this year you didn't get that much. So I was glad to see that. If I had one critique, what they should have done, especially and Brandon was talking about the mousetrap, especially the giant one where the mechanical failure, they shouldn't have zoomed in too much on it because you can also see that the fact it is really PVC piping, not metal. So it really that. I'm not saying it ruined it. I'm just I'm still giving them 5.5 stars, but it's the fact
Sammy put it over like it was legit, like heavy as hell.
And that's why I'm not giving it too big of a critique. It's just the fact that they zoomed in and you could see the little corners that look like the PVC piping, and it kind of ruins it a little bit. But perfect match. There's a reason why Wee Man's back there. It's like I saw a meme. I was joking, saying I'm going to tell my kids that this was Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant, and I saved it because I found it funny. So, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that to me that was the match overall of WrestleMania.
All righty, boss.
What you got?
Okay, so I'm not a fan of Sami Zayn, the conspiracy theorist. He's going to have something to always go on top of that conspiracy. I will say this. WrestleMania was the 2 nights of the celebrity guest stars because they went undefeated. Sami Zayn losing always makes me smile. I laughed when Sammy first found out about mousetraps when he stuck his hand at the table and got snapped on by the first one. It was a very comedic match, and people say comedy don't work in wrestling. This was very funny. It fit the whole jackass thing.
Yes.
So I enjoyed it, and it gives Sammy something to cry about on Friday. So I gave it a 3.5.
All right. Well, I'm obviously well into the minority. I love Sami Zayn. You have to have that conspiracy guy that churns story. He churns interest, and he can work with just about anybody. I almost hope he pretends to quit and comes out as El Generico, which is the gimmick he used to use in the day where he was a white luchador. I hope they bring out El Generico. It would be amazing. Now, this match was done almost to perfection. I went 4.25 stars on this one. This match, Sami Zayn looked strong. He fought the Jackass crew, not just Johnny Knoxville. He fought the Jackass crew, and he was beating them down until they ganged up on him. Yeah, there you go. And he was taking him out, and then they finally overpowered him. So he did not look weak here, losing to Johnny Knoxville. No. Plus, they hit him with tons of plunder to get him beat down. The ball kicker and the big mousetrap and the rubber bowling ball and all the other stuff they hit him with.
Party Boy,
the mousetrap and Party Boy, all of that stuff to make Sami Zayn still look good and not look weak when he lost this match. Plus, I think he truly had fun with this match. 4.25 stars, match of the card.
Definitely. I just want to let, I'm not sure what this is, but Randy is on our pre-shows. He is watching here, I believe, but definitely say hello to him. So what is our next match?
Well, you still got to talk about.
Oh, I did talk about this.
Oh, did you? Oh, Randy's got to say something.
Nobody's going to talk about the debut that we saw?
I was just about to talk. I was like, if you weren't going to say it, I was.
Oh yeah, Mae Young and Mark Henry's.
Thank you. Like he did amazing. Like
yeah,
the growth the growth that man has had. Oh my word!
Oh,
I guess I was missing that.
Over.
Oh, come on, Rambo. The Mountie is awesome.
Yes,
the Mountie is
the Mountie.
We are waiting for any of you graphics people out there. If you can make the Mountie riding Hercules Hernandez, you get our vote.
Yes, we want to see that.
All right. So the next match here. So who do we start with? Who was up next? I think Brandon, it's up to you.
Yes, Brandon next.
So it's the women's fatal four-way tag team match. Sasha and Naomi versus Liv and Rhea versus Shayna and Natty versus Carmella and Zelina, the champions.
Can I call pass?
You stole the rule words right from me, honestly. I mean, other than watching that dominatrix thing in the corner that, those two had going on, I'm glad that Naomi got the belt. All right? I'm glad that Naomi got the belt. As far as anything else that happened in that match, pass. For real.
All right.
Mr. Rogers.
Being a big fan of Sasha Banks, I'm excited that she has another title. And if I remember right, this is also her first WrestleMania victory. I'll be honest, I'm actually growing into a big fan of Liv Morgan. I don't know how much more you're going to get of that tag team of Ripley and Morgan, but Liv is just showing that how much you don't need to be the biggest, the strongest. You just got to go out there and just give it your all. And I'm actually becoming more of a fan of Liv Morgan. But again, I'm gonna usher the same sentiments. Other than the fact that I'm excited that Sasha won and Naomi actually getting the title again, I was not really excited on this match. I was kind of
talking about your favorite, Liv Morgan.
No, I heard he likes Sasha Banks.
He loves Sasha Banks too.
Okay, boss. I'm gonna pass this off to you because I have no other words.
You can leave that open for a little bit.
Okay.
We got a great audience here. Thank you guys for tuning in here.
All right, boss, what you got with this one? He's either trying to play some music or he just doesn't want to talk.
Okay, so of course everybody knew I was on the Boston Glow Connection. I would have rather seen Naomi's sister than see I'd rather seen Natty's sister than see Natty any day of the week.
Hands down.
I thought Shayna Baszler was fired.
No.
Rhea and Liv will become a very interesting tag team. And Clayface, I'm glad that she no longer has the belt around her waist. And the Queen can actually go to challenge the Queen for the title. So overall, I was happy with the outcome. I didn't watch the match all the way because, I was hungry. Just saying. But, you'll see it, and everybody can probably seen the greatest picture out where you had Bianca standing there with the tag team champions. It's a beautiful picture.
Mm-hmm.
Black Girls Rock, Women's History Month, all came to an end all at one time.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that.
What do you got to say about? Oh, you love this match. Oh no.
Liv Morgan is god awful in the ring. Oh my God. She is horrendous and then some.
She's better than Dominic.
Better. Naomi at least is athletic.
Everybody's better than Dominic.
Talented. Sasha Banks, go away. I'm glad like you, Clayface lost. Get her off my television. She can stay on YouTube because I don't watch YouTube. It's really bad when you call yourself the most beautiful woman in WWE and you're not even the most beautiful woman in your tag team.
Mayhem, tell us how you
love
like
this match.
I like the fact that Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley actually got to look strong, tough, and menacing. Other than that, this was a garbage botch fest. This was spot heavy. I didn't give a damn about this match. I didn't even rate it.
That's the exact rating I have, an incomplete here. This reminded me of WrestleMania 20 when they decided to put 4-way tag team matches in there, and they were totally discombobulated. They were totally out of whack, and this match here was no different. Everybody looked like they were completely confused. I'm glad to see, though, Naomi and Sasha got the tag titles. That works for their favor. It helps Naomi build a little credibility. One day, can we please have Naomi go heel? That's all I'm asking. Naomi needs to go heel.
She got the right teacher.
I agree.
All right. So next match should start with Mr. Rogers, I believe.
Mr. Rogers.
AJ Styles and Edge.
So this was probably one of the matches I was most looking forward to since they pretty much started the story for it. I'm kind of like match was great overall. And Brandon and I were kind of talking about it before jumping on the show. For those who don't know, the reason why AJ's face was bleeding was because he ran into the set before walking out. It was not like the original report was saying, oh, it was this pyro that like part of the pyro hit him and that's what happened. No, it was really he I guess hit the set on the way by and he cut himself open. Great match overall. I think this is the longest match time-wise of the two nights overall. I will say this though, I was kind of disappointed with the ending. I'm interested to see what they do because now you get this idea that is Edge forming his version of the Brood, or is he because I believe WWE did bring up the Brood name under copyright for them. So will Edge be able to create one, or is this just hey, they're gonna become tag teams, and could it be Edge and Damian what's his face beat RK Bro say tonight? But I 4.5 stars. I enjoyed the match. I just didn't like the ending and overall.
All right. Before we go to the boss, Rambo, what I'm talking about on the YouTube channel is the the Corey Graves and Carmella debacle that hopefully ends soon. Boss, go ahead.
So we will have a new brood. Everybody knows this. Edge is at the point where at 48 years old, trying to compete in full wrestling matches by yourself is not going to work.
Sure.
You're going to need to bring up and mentor these younger talents who are close but fluttering. You know, like he was done. So it's time to return the favor, pay it forward. You know, bring in Damian Priest, who was at a stuttering flutter after losing the United States title to Finn Balor. Maybe working with Edge will help him. I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I was a huge fan of the Rated R Superstar.
Nobody knows who or where you are.
Oh God, I'm started. But overall, it's the line from one of my favorite promo artists now. With that being said,
He's a fan of the
said,
Oh!
with that being said, they could have done it a little differently. Made it seem a little more like Edge wasn't weak at the end. That's all I seen when I seen Damian Priest. You know, I used to be Brandon's favorite guy. Damian Priest was like right up there with Roman Reigns with for Brandon for a while. I almost thought he was part of the bloodline, but I digress. I gave it a 4. It wasn't bad. I gave it a 4.
All right. I agree with Mr. Rogers. This match was great until the ending. There was no hint that this was coming. And they really screwed up with Damian Priest when they gave him the "Are you Damian or are you the priest?" I didn't dig that. I thought it was a bad addition to his gimmick. He was getting over just going out there being a big, tall ass kicker. I don't think he needed to do that. And there was no hint that this was getting ready to happen. So this could have been, if he was going to do something, it should have been, the screw job, not just stand there and stare at him and look at him. But this would have been better off of, okay, now I vanquished AJ Styles and somebody was watching and they learned, and here comes Damian Priest. So I went 3 3/4. The ending brought it down from 4 stars because it was really such a change from how good the rest of the match really was.
Now, this match was, to me, the wrestling match of the night.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you why it was. To break it down in simplistics here, if you watch them when they started, they worked slow. They worked the crowd. They worked each other. They had rest spots. A rest spot is not a bad thing when you're putting the effectiveness of the move into it. They eventually went into spots, which worked. They didn't go straight 50 super kicks in one match. They went slow, like the way it was in old school professional wrestling. Like everybody loves that old school feel. That's why I love that match. Plus, Edge's intro was phenomenal. Whoever came up with that, they get a fucking great job. Excuse me.
Probably the third best intro of the night. Of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely up there.
Mr. Seeger. You muted yourself.
You muted yourself, buddy.
Even though the match went the way that it did, I want to sit here and say, thank you, AJ. Thank you, AJ. Because here lately, if anybody has been noticing, they have been putting him and helping him help the people who need the most help. And I'm not saying that Edge needs help. I'm not saying that. At the beginning of the match, I had a friend over here, and he's like, a quarter says that Edge botches in the match, and I'm like, I don't know. I want to say yes, but are we doing arcade bro math, or what are we talking about? He's like 25 cents, and I'm like, all right, we're good. So no, and I took it because I knew. One, AJ was in the ring. Two, it's not just AJ, it's Edge. They're two legends. So they I knew that they were going to work well together. So I knew that it was going to be a great match. I didn't know that it was going to be as great as it did. And to feed into the Boston Logan, I'm glad that happened for Damian Priest. I've never left Damian's side. He's right there. He's my other brown skinned brother from down under. You know, so I'm glad that it went the way it did. I honestly though, Priest would have never went heel by himself. He was going to need somebody to help transition him, to help carry him through that and move better. And Edge.
All right, boss. You get this thing.
Oh,
Sheamus and Ridge Holland against the New Day.
oh boy!
Can I get a DNQ?
You can.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna give it a do not qualify because I didn't watch it. No, I don't qualify because I didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
Okay. All right. This match, I wrote this down in a really interesting way. Yay. Yay.
Mayhem, may I just say, you just explaining that lasted longer than the match actually did.
And Butch,
You love Butch, don't you?
skinny jean man bun on Coke level 36 is already annoying. Get him off my television. At least he's not doing that stupid finger stuff.
So what'd you rank it?
1.25.
See, I miss the bruiserweight. I don't like Butch. I like the bruiserweight. I love the whole stretching the fingers thing. Nobody else has done it ever. So, but yeah, he looked like a complete ass here. That's just me. Yeah, this match, thank God it was quick and it moved on. I'm going to give it 1.5.
Mr. Sega.
And you're muted, sir.
It wouldn't have mattered much, even if I wasn't muted, honestly. I mean, I'm going to agree with, like, this is something that I should have been able to ignore on the pre-show, I feel like. And it wasn't. It was stuck in the middle of everything else, and I'm thinking, why? Why is this happening? I mean, honestly, if you didn't think for a split second that Pete Dunne was going to have his name changed and that he wasn't going to be able to use his fingers, think again, because that's just what WWE does. They just change gimmicks and water you down and make you look like Chris Rock getting slapped in the Oscars. Like, it's just, what the crap, man? So, anyways, I'm with Boss. That was my bathroom break. I didn't even watch it.
Drop it.
Oh,
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The dog came around the corner with something in its mouth that it shouldn't have had. So that's what you guys heard.
I thought she was telling you to stop it.
All righty.
Oh, I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys knew that I was done there. Oh, there.
We're experiencing a little slow internet, so we didn't know.
Nope, you're good. You're
Mr.
good.
Rogers.
Next.
Next.
Right, that was easy.
That's all I need to hear.
All righty, so we go on to that would be me,
Yeah, you.
Austin Theory, and Pat McAfee. Now I got half the story right. I figured Vince McMahon was going to come out there and play manager for Austin Theory, and he sort of kind of did a little bit. Pat McAfee looked incredible. That top rope leap into the superplex was awesome. kicking the football out there into the crowd. He looked comfortable out there. I know they did a video package that he had a ring built and he was playing around and doing stuff like that. He looked great. He didn't really look all that uncomfortable out there. He was a little lost from time to time, but that happens. The only way you work that out is with ring experience. You can't just train for it. You have to do it. I enjoyed this match, Austin Theory, Pat McAfee, 3.25 stars. The Vince McMahon, Austin Theory, while it was funny, I only gave that a 1.5. The only thing I liked about that match was Vince McMahon kicking the football into his side.
Hey, you're only supposed to do one match, not two.
You didn't like the way I worked out there? Didn't you see me? I look like a genetic jackhammer at 83 years old.
We'll get to the other half of what happened, why your grapefruits held you down here in a few minutes.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you, I love the match, though. I loved Austin Theory, Pat McAfee, really proving that not necessarily if you're an athlete, you're going to make it in the WWE, but he definitely is an example of what could be. So, I mean, he did a great job. If you're trying to make it in the WWE, Tony Atlas told me this. If you're trying to make it in the WWE, make sure you have a name for yourself in another field. Pat McAfee was a punter on the Colts, and that brung him here to start training. And that's also a big story you get to use. Great match. I'm going to give it 3.75 stars. Definitely a highlight match for WrestleMania.
Mr. Sega.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. You are truly a gentleman and a scholar. So,
I'm here for you.
I just wanted to see Pat McAfee do a backflip, and that's what I got to see. I'm going to agree with Quack. Pat McAfee is something that you hope that. Or not hope is the wrong choice of words. Pat McAfee is what could be if they would just let loose the reins. At first I thought, wow, they're giving Austin Theory a push that he doesn't really deserve, and then like so many times they've put 2 stars in front of us, and we think the push is for one when truly the whole time it was for the other instead. So is this a good push for Pat McAfee? Just a slow kind of, let's slow roast this turkey. Let's not overcook it and dry it out real quick. Let's see what we got here. So I just want to bring back something else. I want to give a shout out to Bed Bath & Beyond for that beautiful duvet that Seth wore to the ring. Like Bed Bath & Beyond, you guys went beyond yourself. You really did.
No, he was wearing he was wearing what Becky didn't want to wear for WrestleMania.
All right, Mr.
You're going to put my pants on and wear them.
Oh, my God.
What you got, Mr. Ray?
I will say this. It was amazing being able to see, like, for those who don't watch NXT, go back and watch, War Games. He had a better opponent, like he had better ring wrestlers that he was going against, and he did amazing things just in that match alone. I enjoyed it. Granted, however, I honestly believed what they should have done was put a bigger name against Pat McAfee rather than trying to hold Pat McAfee up with somebody who isn't up there yet in Austin Theory, which I don't like Austin Theory. I think they've tried this gimmick before with, what was his name? Zack Ryder, and they gave up on it right off the bat. And, wait, didn't they also do it with Drew McIntyre with the Chosen One story? So I kind of don't like it. If I had any critiques, they should have probably put a bigger name, like say they could have put Ed or AJ with versus Pat McAfee and still had even like that. Actually, probably would be an amazing match as it is. The whole Mr. like now splitting it up and doing the whole Mr. McMahon aspect of it. The guy's what, older than
that's the next match.
Quack and Mayhem combined, and you
just a little bit there, pal.
Okay, you think you have grapefruits, but they're really raisins. But
you gotta love this, man.
They could have done without the whole Vince McMahon match. They could have. Granted, yes, this is this is another first at WrestleMania. Vince actually finally gets a win at WrestleMania. So I was not like they could have done without that, or they could have done Pat versus Vince and Pat versus Vince and Austin Theory. I think they could have gone that route and combined the whole time together to make 12, 13 minutes on its own rather than split it up to make it the way they did.
Come and done. Come on, McMahon. See, I'm telling you. Boss, what you got?
First off, we're not going to go the full panel without talking about how sparkly Pat McAfee's shirt was.
I got to agree.
Secondly, I do agree with Mr. Rogers, a.k.a. Bushy Brow, that if y'all did not see War Games, you would not have known that Pat McAfee is a monster in the ring. Third thing, Pat McAfee can say, Adam Cole, I got to win at WrestleMania. Where's your WrestleMania moment?
Not even just that. He has a WrestleMania. He has 2 WrestleMania matches. Adam Cole, 0.
Well, it does happen.
I think they did that just so he could say that.
Of course.
Vince never takes shots. What? No.
Say it ain't so.
No.
Since everybody wanted to combine these 2 matches, now I can get to the worst stunner of WrestleMania.
Yes.
And the best stunner.
Thank you, because I didn't want to talk about it. I just skipped right over it.
No, oh hell no. We was not gonna end this. We was not gonna get through this without talking about Vince damn near killing himself.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vince. You want to talk about a botch? You've been taking this stunner for 48 years. You should know what to do.
Yeah, well, Stone Cold did catch him a little solid because he is kind of blind.
Yeah.
But
Although I will say this, like Stone Cold laughing at the end of that was like him laughing was just great. Like there's so many times where I've seen Stone Cold pissed off over the fact that he took it so stiff, but he was out there having fun, and I enjoyed that.
Can we talk about the best part of the match here? Pat McAfee on the ground drinking a beer.
Laying there dead, drinking a beer.
That's cool.
After seeing I want to say the second best stunner sell behind
the Rock-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Rock-esque. Because no one can sell a stunner like The Rock. But Pat McAfee came in a close second.
Well, Austin Theory was no slouch either. I think after he hit, I think it was literally like, what was it, Scott Hall, where he hit the second stunner and Scott Hall practically almost fell over the ropes.
Yeah.
Austin Theory almost did the same thing. Like, to me, those were the 2 best stunners I've seen in a long time, and I'd go Rock stunner, being stunned, and Pat McAfee's like 1A, 1B at this point. It was just the beard going up was perfect.
All right. So now it's time to get us into the main event.
That's right. We got a quick fire round here. We've got Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. The main event.
You get started.
I get to start here. I'm just going to talk very simply on it. You saw Roman Reigns' arm. You've seen the picture where he got hit in the Kamara lock. You've seen his arm kind of bulging there. People are speculating if it's an injury or not. That's what we're all waiting to find out. Will he be out of action for a while? Will he be continuing on? The match itself, I felt, ended too abrupt. It went right to the spear into a 3 count. I was expecting more out of this match. They went a total of 12 minutes. You know, it wasn't a great main event. It went about 2.5 for me. It had the hype behind it. It should have had a little bit more with it. But, you know, the spear wins the match here. It fell flat. It was like day 2 was a nice, you know, chocolate cake with a turd on top of it. That's what it reminded me of. Brandon.
Well, you know, we're all gonna, know what I'm gonna say instantly. Yes, I think the match could have been longer, but again, to to build the legacy and help build the Roman dynasty and whatnot, it had to go the way that it did. Like, I honestly, again, like, he should have beat him faster than Goldberg beat Lesnar. And, you know, it didn't happen like that, but it was a quick finish. It was a quick win. And I think, you know, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Day one, and I'm going to stay that way for the next 3 years. 5. Count it. 5 years he's going to hold that belt.
Thank you, Mr. Roboto. Mr. Rogers.
So I will say this: in the next 20 minutes, I guarantee we'll find out what's going to happen. If it is a legitimate injury, the way it looks and how the match ended, you could possibly see, say, Cody step up, Drew step up, challenge, and Brock comes out, destroys Reigns, and all of a sudden we may have a new champion going into by the end of Raw. I would not be surprised because the way the match ended, you could tell something was wrong. The way I just showed a picture, there is something wrong. You just don't get that on your arm by just sheer luck. It could be like, I think someone said that they bet it's like a blown bicep. Quack, with your medical background, could it be like could Brock have broken his arm?
It's possible. I think it could be a bicep tear, partial bicep tear. I don't think you're talking about, you know, any bones breaking there. But yeah, I mean, I can't tell without an X-ray and MRI. That's why it's hard to look at.
So the match was just as long as I expected it was going to be. Obviously, just the same as practically we started WrestleMania with Rick Boogs going down with an injury, and the match abruptly ended is how we ended WrestleMania. And it sucks because this was the storyline that we're looking at. Okay, we all know where WWE wants this to go for next year. They want Rock versus Roman, who is the head of the table, who is the leader of the family when it comes to wrestling. And now if Roman is legitimately injured, that could put this whole storyline at risk when it comes to it, because how, like, you would be thinking, okay, Rock will be coming out, say what, SummerSlam to start the storyline. Like, I actually thought the Usos were going to turn on Roman, but I could possibly see that being further down the line as well. But I'm kind of disappointed the way it ended, but if it was a legitimate injury, you feel bad. I'm done.
All right. Boss.
Okay, so this match and night 2 gets my quack attack and 2-finger salute. So this is the reason it gets the quack attack. It all rotates around Paul Heyman.
That man's a genius.
Brock Lesnar out Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman with the intro.
Best version of Brock Lesnar.
And then you seen Paul Heyman's face. It's the same face at the end of the match. It's the same face he had when Brock broke the streak. It was utter surprise. Like, this is not the way this is supposed to happen.
Yep.
And of course, the 2-finger salute goes to the ending. I was not happy with the ending.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the tribal queef. And since you wanted to bring up day one, remember the 24-hour I got COVID because I don't want to face Brock Lesnar moment. So that 5-year that you want to talk about has the most taint on it. And it will never happen. And you know you're on mute again, right?
Because nothing I say at this point to you is going to matter. But you say what you want. He's already held it for almost 2 years. That's longer than anybody else by far in his division.
That man has more unclean finishes than The Miz had.
And?
And that's saying something.
And you saying Ric Flair is the cleanest person in all the game to get all of those wins off of his titles?
And Ric Flair is also known as the dirtiest player in the
Dirtiest
game.
player.
And he's a heel right now. What is the heel supposed to do? Just make it look like he's a face? He's a heel. That's what heels do.
He has the weakest look as a champion. I can't.
You guys are
take
gonna
no
dog
wins.
on him regardless. Nobody's liked him since day one. It don't even matter. You guys were gonna dog on him because when Vince McMahon came out and said that's my boy, everybody gunned out for him. Nobody liked him no more. Nobody.
I'm going to keep this rolling because we've got to get ready to film another show here. So I'm going to finish this night up here. I've actually been a fan. I was a fan of Roman Reigns of the Bloodline. I still am. I actually think the Bloodline is a great story. I just felt it had gone as far as it could go. I couldn't see what else is going on. The match was not what the story was that they were telling. Brock Lesnar was scaring Roman Reigns to death, and Roman Reigns comes out on the offensive to start the match. It didn't match the story they were trying to tell. The ending was bad. This fell into the problem of the match could not match up to all the hype that this match was given. So by proxy, this match was going to be a failure no matter what happened because
What?
I went 2.25 stars. And I'm going to end it with this. If Brock Lesnar comes out and does something to go on his suspension indefinitely, the injury is kayfabe. If Brock Lesnar comes out and stays there, the injury is probably legit. And that's all I have to say about this.
Yeah, well, there we go, folks. Look, less than 2 hours, we were able to do this, cover both shows here on WrestleMania. Take notes, WWE. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Starting at Backlash, we're going to start a new chain, and Mr. Rogers will be joining us full time.
Oh, yeah, don't forget Randy Hogan. See you then.
My goodness.